Learning Matters is made possible by grants from the Lilly Endowment of Indianapolis, Indiana, and the Pew Charitable Trusts.
The hot word in the learning business these days is multimedia. It means taking a computer, a VCR, a stereo, all kinds of equipment, and hooking it together to allow students to create projects that we never dreamed of when I was in school. All that equipment sounds expensive, but Fred D'Ignazio, our guide to technology, says there's an alternative to spending big bucks. He calls it scavenging.
Hi, this is Fred's Technology Corner. Scavenging is a concept that's very 90s. It's very in vogue. It means making more out of less, recycling. We have tons of old VCRs, tape recorders, record players kicking around school buildings or tucked away in kids' bedrooms that could now be repurposed, brought into the classroom, and instead of being these like technological toys, tinker toys of the 90s, they can now be grouped together into a workstation, a learning station of the future.
You press the red button.
Kids can use these toys. These are the multimedia pencils of the future. They can produce their own curriculum using these little tiny technology toys.
I know you have a recipe, a scavenger's recipe, and we're sitting in your kitchen. So what's the recipe? Show me the
All right,
elements.
well, the first element of the recipe, John, is the computer. The computer is the hub, and I think of it like the sun with a constellation of planets, or a solar system of planets.
And this one we're looking at is 7 years old?
This is a 7-year-old computer. You could do it on a 10-year-old computer. You could use an older Apple, Commodore, IBM, Radio Shack. It doesn't really matter. Media is going digital. Computer is digital. So you want to have the computer be a hub of your process. Then you add to that whatever you can find. So as an example here, I have my 3-year-old daughter's little tape recorder boombox. This could be any school tape recorder. Two of the most important pieces of the little Scavenged Multimedia Center are the VCR, and right here we've got almost a 10-year-old beta VCR that you can't even buy anymore, but it's our family VCR. And along with that, a television set. The idea behind this is technology comes in all shapes and sizes, and one of the problems today is this dizzying proliferation of VCRs and TVs and boxes. And the thing about multimedia scavenging is it really, anything you've got can be fitted together. For video, what the kids need is a video camera.
That's a pretty beat-up old machine.
This thing's been kicking around the D'Ignazio household for about 8 years now. We've added some duct tape to it because the strap fell off. The microphone, I think, was chewed on by our family cat for a while there until we discouraged her from that.
So far, we've got an old computer, a television, a tape recorder, a camera, and a VCR. Fred's recipe calls for just 2 more ingredients, a simple word processing program for the computer, and a way to make background music of your own. That way, there are no royalties to pay. Any inexpensive keyboard will do.
Jeremy, here, let me see.
What the premium here is not on bucks, spending money. It's on children working together collaboratively to build this as a classroom project. We're looking at problem solving, invention, where children can figure out how these things work together. Our children have quietly been spending the last 5 years in their bedrooms in Nintendo boot camp. We have all these graduates of Nintendo boot camp. Kids, what adult has wired their Nintendo machine for their kids? None of us. We're all cable disabled. All the adults are kind of like, don't tell me about that stuff.
Patrick, you don't really have to record.
We should employ kids as Nintendo SWAT teams to support their teacher. Teachers can't go to a guru anymore. This stuff is breaking too fast. No single adult can be the expert for any building or any school district.
So the teacher has to kind of loosen up and say, let's figure this out.
That's right. The teacher is just kind of the head of a SWAT team, or almost like a wilderness. Think of it as an outward bound experience where teachers say, we're not quite sure how this all stuff fits together, but Fred said, get a boom box, get a VCR, get a computer, and get a few of these cables and adapters, and you can't go wrong. Like your cables. Mike gives you better cables.
Fred D'Ignazio says children will teach each other and learn at an accelerated pace.
I've never seen two of these scavenge stations work alike or look alike, yet they always come out doing these amazing things. We once had a group of kids that I worked with in Iowa one time, and while I was working with another team, I came back and the kids were doing this. They grabbed a $5 headphone set and they were talking and narrating the little script on George Washington into the earpiece of their headphones. And I said, hey guys, I want you to be inventive and discovery oriented, but you've got the ins and the outs mixed up. This is your headphone, you're supposed to listen to it. They said, no, Mr. D'Ignazio. I said, this is a microphone. I said, what? They said, yeah, we plugged it into the mic jack, and look, watch. And they rewound their tape, and they played it back, and there was, clear as a bell, was their script on the videotape. They'd used their headphones as a microphone for a VCR. So once they did that, then I figured the sky's the limit. The kids can tell me how this stuff works.